I spent 23 years as a guard or correctional officer at the U.S. Penitentiary in Marion, Illinois. My job was to closely observe and report on the activities of prisoners. This information was used to control the entire population of the federal prison system. While I recently was visiting the Bronx in New York City, I used the same methods of observation on the people I met there. There is a remarkable similarity to the people in the worst areas of the Bronx and the prisoners at USP Marion. First, let me clarify what population I'm talking about. I'm not talking about those hipsters who live on the Grand Concourse and people who own houses near the Montefiore Hospital and the more affluent areas like that. I'm talking about the people who live in the 2400s of Marion Street, Briggs Street, or Valentine Avenue. The places you don't want to walk around at midnight. That is the place and the people that I'm talking about. I lived in a one-bedroom apartment with 8 other people. In that building, I wear earplugs at night, not to keep out the sound of the people above and below me blasting their music until 11 o'clock at night, but the cockroaches that try to get inside my ears. I could hear the mice tearing up paper as they found in the apartment trying to make a hidden nest for themselves. It's substandard living, to say the least. Prisoners also put up with the same things at Marion. The insane prisoner fighting with his demons at night in his cell next to yours, cockroaches the size and color of almonds, a place of fear of assault, jealousy of those, who are better off, racial hatred. The cops act just like I did in prison. They watch and observe. They always ask for names, and I notice they take notes after interviews. They were very wary and defensive. I noticed they didn't like anybody to put their hands in their pockets. I felt the same way in prison. The question in my mind was what was in his pocket, and was I about to be assaulted with some sort of weapon? The cops I interviewed at the corner of 194th and Briggs Avenue were the perfect picture of prison guards. They had the exact same attitudes, body language, and demeanor that I had when I was working. I'm willing to bet I was the most unusual contact they ever had. I first explained to them, getting kind of windy here. I explained to them I was a retired correctional officer from a Supermax prison in Illinois. I showed them my ID and the additional stuff that authorized me to carry a firearm. Then I told them I had on a ballistic vest and 2 firearms. They claimed to be able to detect the presence of the 2 pistols on my person. I have my doubt, but it's their story. They made sure to carefully inspect my credentials and wrote my name down and asked where I lived in Illinois and the address of where I was staying at in the Bronx. We spoke about the need for close observation and dissemination of information. To my surprise, they had a very similar system to the prison. My nephew was with me, and I postulated that the people in the area were underskilled for a good job and had no real hope. This lack of skills and hope led to criminal behaviors and drug use. I warned my nephew that it was my opinion that he should not live there, for fear of the same mindset would creep its way into his worldview. One of the police officers agreed with my opinion, so this part of the Bronx, the police acted more like prison guards than police officers that I'm used to. Before you asked, nobody talked about arresting me or that my walking stick looked like a riot baton. The mentality of most of the people in the building was an exact copy of the prisoners in my cell block. Nobody trusted the white guy. I was called 007 and a police spy. The fact that I visit every year for more than 10 years made no difference. The color of the oppressor's skin is white, and I had the same markings, therefore I was an oppressor. Like prison, the pervasive racism was not all encompassing. There were exceptions. Some people judged me for myself and had sympathy for the death in my family. But there were exceptions to the rule. Most feared that I would inform on their drug use or dealing or selling of stolen goods that happened right in front of me. One guy even told me his version of snitches get stitches. just like the prison, the other convicts tested me to see, if I could be exploited by them. I felt like I was on the other side of the bars there. Prison and the Bronx both have a massive amount of rules that need to be followed or the authorities will take action. In the Bronx and prison, it's the job of the convict to circumvent these rules to live a marginally better existence. Things like move your car twice a week for the street cleaners or get a ticket, find a place to park that's not in one of the many restricted zones, smoke dope and drink alcohol to numb the feelings that come with hopelessness, but don't get caught. Settle serious disputes with violence if needed, steal things from the store you can't afford or sell it to pay for drugs, trade sex for stuff, protect what's yours. All under the watchful eyes of the police standing their post at the corner of Briggs and 194th. Did I mention the cameras? Just like in prison, the NYPD place highly visible cameras in high traffic areas. The purpose is to let the guards and the prisoners know that you're being watched and recorded. The tape will be used against you, so watch out. Another is to have the prison guards and police constantly search people and places for weapons. Only the authorities should ever have weapons. It makes the guards bolder and more secure and intimidates the population of convicts. The police I mentioned earlier, they tried to convince me that they would protect me and there was no need for a firearm. I told them that I worked in the most secure prison in America, and I've seen inmates butchered by other convicts. The Bronx is slightly less restricted, and I didn't trust the authorities to guarantee my safety. Just like the convicts, I felt the need for a weapon. A gun in my case, a shank in theirs. It was then that I realized that Bronx was like prison and I was one of the convicts. Prisoners pay double for everything in the commissary. Things that I get to do for free or at little cost, the prisoners, they got to pay for. There was a Chinese restaurant that was next to the laundromat that I used. The restaurant's gone, and in its place is this money-changing bank thing. Open 24 hours. They charged me 25 cents to buy a roll of quarters with a bus. Where I live, this is a free service to anybody, not to the prisoners of the Bronx. Convicts get used to their surroundings. We call it institutionalization. And it's described as the inability of a long-term prisoner to function in the free world. My in-laws have all the signs of institutionalization. They have become trapped into the belief that they are incapable of functioning in an environment where you have no choices. Everything is decided for you, and all your basic needs are met by the authorities who prescribe the conditions of your employment and compensation. I opine on this subject based on my experience as a former police officer in a small town, a retired correctional officer, and my observation during visits over the 10 years or so in the Bronx. If you have a different opinion, I'd be glad to hear it in the comments. I read every comment you make. I do block the extreme bullies and the racists and people that just say stupid things to try to stir up garbage. So my finger is really primed up to delete your crap if you want to be a troll. No matter how much we disagree or what I think of your opinion, I do enjoy hearing from you, but if you're a bully or a troll, I'm going to just delete you. If you like this video, don't be an ass, hit the like button, and would it kill you to subscribe? I promise you, it won't. And for an extra, thing for those of you who care, I'm the white guy who washes clothes once a year at the Top Choice Laundromat at 194th and Briggs. Hang out for a year or so and we can chat. Say hello to Officer Rodriguez. She stands there on the corner all the time. And hell, I'll even buy the Pepsi.